Worldwide movement, peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq hollering at you one more again. All right. I love it. Another beautiful day. Not long after my own grand awakening for the day. Beautiful indeed. Anybody who hasn't seen it, check out my video on how I wake up, right? Every day. I mean it. Every day I literally wake up. It's just fantastic, right? Every day. All right, folks. A high vibrational frequency lifestyle. That's the goal, right? Striving to be pleasing unto the sight of our Creator, Source, however you term the source of all, right? If you want to say God, if you want to say whatever name you choose, that's personal, right? But we all acknowledge that we come from source, some source, right? We acknowledge the creator and sustainer of everything that ever was, does, and ever shall exist, right? All right. It's very early, but it's just beautiful and calm. You know how it is in the early beginning moments of the day, right? Beautiful. All right. So the focus of this is let's be aware and understand what's happening, right? We've been through a lot. No need really to rehash, but we do need to understand as we comb through it. In a nutshell, we incorporate, right? We start out as the beautiful, light, spiritual beings that we are, right? Understand that, folks. You're more than just flesh. It's factual. Doesn't matter what perspective you want to look at it from, spiritual, religious, scientific, you're more than just a clump of meat. You are, right? So, human beings exist. We've been incarnating into these flesh, physical beings that we call humans for a long time, right? In fact, looking at it scientifically, evidence of human beings back a couple of million years, right? All right. So, with that, we need to understand that in that long time, we've gone through a lot, right? But a lot is needed for a species to civilize, to grow, to mature into a truly evolved civilization. Thus is the process we've been going through on this planet. Now, history is a funny and fickle thing, folks. The past is a funny thing. The whole way we look at and view past, present, and future, most would agree has been rather skewed, right? And many who have come into one form of enlightenment or another would tell you past, present, and future are not sequential the way that we perceive them to be, right? Everything is happening in what we would call the now, right? And that's actually not that difficult to understand if you utilize that all-important tool that I actually did a video about, perspective, right? How close we are to a particular thing that's being observed completely changes our perspective. Because we live these physical lives and have been doing so and are so enthralled in doing so, our perspective generally tends to be from our physical standpoint, right? From what our lives are like incarnate in these physical vessels. However, think about a unit of time. Like, let's take a small unit of time, fairly small, a second, right? Well, we know that a second is divisible like any other unit of time, right? You can look at the fact that 60 seconds make up a minute. All right. Well, isn't that second even able to be broken down? Yes, it is. We've done it and broken it down into nanoseconds, right? The point is that you can always go smaller, right, or infinitesimally small when observing time, or you can expand exponentially as great as you would like. It's just counting. And counting is just a way of us perceiving, right? So, time is the same way in terms of perceiving past, present, and future. When we extrapolate and look from a greater perspective, then we see it is all happening right now, right? It's just how close you are to it. If you're very close to it, you'll observe the infinitesimal, right? You'll observe the second, the nanosecond, the moment, the instant. If you are, and when you're doing that, when you're observing that nanosecond or that second, moment, or instant, that's now to you, right? You're observing it currently. That's your now. Well, if you take a greater perspective and you observe a minute, or you observe an hour, you actively observe it. While you're observing it, that's your now, right? That's your now. You can observe a year, a decade, a generation, a century, a millennia. While you're observing it, that's your now, right? It's all dependent upon the perspective that you're looking at it. So we're used to looking at things through the perspective of years and determining a past, present, and future. But what about in a minute? What's the past, present, and future in a minute? Well, that first 10 seconds, that's the past, right? Or the first 20 seconds, that's the past. 20 seconds in the middle is now, and 20 seconds, the ending 20 seconds is the future. You see? It's all relative. It's all relative based on your perception. All right. So, in our past, a great many things has happened, right? To us, by us, right? For us, against us. All of it, without going into specific events and what has transpired, all of it, we have to keep in mind, is a part of that process of us growing and maturing as we have incarnated into these physical vessels, right? That's the whole point of incarnating into a physical vessel, so that we can perceive from so many different angles, so that we can experience so many different things that you can't if you're not incarnate, right? If you're not incarnate, you don't feel the cold, you don't feel hunger, right? You don't feel anxiety, you don't feel stress. At least you shouldn't. Unless you're in some energetic state of turmoil, right? Unless you're non-corporeal but low vibrational, right? The point is, when we take on these physical bodies, they're a tool. They are a tool for us to perceive and go through these different situations and scenarios that help us to actually learn what we could not learn as spirits, to experience what we could not experience as non-corporeal beings, right? And that all aids in our spiritual maturation. All right. So through these lifetimes, and folks, we've known for quite some time, scientifically, right? Human beings really are not, we don't die, really. Physically, you know, the matter cannot be destroyed, so it only alters in state. The energy that makes up you also cannot be destroyed, only alters in state. And your consciousness or awareness will not die, right? So, we are in fact immortal. We are immortal beings. And we go through mortal lifetimes for that purpose, expressly to learn, grow, and mature. Right? All right. Now that we have that overview, reviewed and refreshed, now we can go back, or we can take a look at our now in the early parts of what has transpired already, right? Or what we've experienced or perceived, what we've viewed, what we have lived, what has helped us to grow and mature to this point. Facts. This planet has been in a low vibrational frequency resonant state for quite some time. Fact. That didn't just happen. Right? That's not an accidental occurrence. Fact. There are what we would call evil, although the concept of good and evil was one that we pretty much have created as part of the human experience. But there are what we would call evil, nefarious, negative, low vibrational frequency entities and energies, people who feed that decline, that tailspin of this planet being, who have fed that tailspin of this planet being immersed in such a dark, low vibrational frequency resonant state for quite some time. You can check my video on energy vampires, and it talks about how some people and entities or energies feed off of such a low vibrational state and those forms of energy, the emotions and experiences that go along with it, the pain and suffering, all of that. So this world is not an accident. This paradigm that we had grown up in, right? None of it was an accident. Many of us have uncovered that things like gentrification and whatnot are not spur-of-the-moment happenings. They are planned events. We thought previously that they were things that were planned 50, 100 years in advance, as far as that long. But we need to understand that there are things unfolding in this country, on this planet, peace, love, respect, that have been planned by those dark, nefarious individuals for centuries and some even millennia. We're going back into portions of the Egyptian empire, right? Where some of these early quote-unquote secret societies that fit into that category of elite individuals who have kept this planet in darkness, right? Those societies go back, many of them, to that time period, right? And if you do the research, you start to see the correlations, right? Just looked at a video the other day. It's actually part 2 in a series by, shout out to Ross Ben on YouTube. You can find him, RAS space BEN, doing a series with Michael Wan, I believe is the young man's name. Is intelligent individuals, both of them, and have done obviously a lot of hard work and diligent research. I applaud them for that in their efforts to bring light to folks. But they talk about some of the same things that I'm mentioning, how these plans go back even further than we've thought, you know, not just 50 or 100 years, but centuries, and some of them millennia, right? That's how long this planet has been enthralled in the clutches of these nefarious individuals. All right. So now that we understand some of those things are unfolding now, right? That gives us a good understanding and perspective on the climate in which we live. Now, because of that, we need to understand on an individual level where we are in our spiritual maturation, right? Remember, the whole point behind all this is that process. The individual maturation of each spirit, thus the multiple lifetimes, right? And collectively, the evolution as a species, right? So what we've seen on this planet
is sort of culminating. It's coming to a point where we are about to reach another evolutionary jump, so to speak. Now, all the while, let's keep in mind that the whole purpose for all this is spiritual maturation. And I remind you of that because we all have that process to go through, right? So I say that so that we keep in mind that no one's going to be left behind. But we don't necessarily all experience the same stages at the same time, right? And that's okay. So I say that to remind you that those beings, those entities, energies, more specifically those people, right, who have found themselves in a place that is low vibrational, dark, nefarious, you might term evil, right? That's just where they're at. With all this having gone on, they played their part, their role, whatever they were, through whatever lifetime. It's just where they're at, right? Try not to look upon them with judgment, though difficult it may be. You can do that more easily if you separate their actions from the people. Well, how do you do that? Well, listen, we all make mistakes. We all make mistakes. And the most beautiful quality that we can adopt from our Creator, from Source, is forgiveness, right? Difficult, again, because, whoo, some of the things done on this planet, unspeakable, truly. Unforgivable, many would say, right? Fine. Don't forgive the actions. Just separate the actions from the people who made those mistakes and understand that that's just where they were at in their spiritual maturation. And if you look at the total picture, they played a part in the maturation of those folks who have gotten to a high vibrational frequency, right? They served as that catalyst. They provided the crucible for you to be forged, right? Okay. So, folks who are able to grasp what's going on now on this planet, folks who have gone through a spiritual awakening and who on a daily basis find themselves really maturing on a spiritual level, right? And moving forward in their own personal evolution, will and are ascending to a higher vibrational frequency state along with this beautiful planet. This planet's vibrational frequency resonance has been climbing. Again, I've been saying it for a while now. That you don't have to take it from me. Research this planet's Schumann resonance, right? You can look it up yourselves. Research what's been happening over the past 10, 20 years, right? This planet is not the same on a vibrational level, which is profound, right? And anybody who needs a refresher on a basic understanding of dimensional science and how vibrational frequency resonance plays into all that, please check my earlier videos for that, right? But every one of us who is able to get ourselves at a point of enlightenment maturation, right? That we can attain a high enough vibrational frequency and hold it as a resonating frequency and live it as a new lifestyle, right? Those individuals will experience that ascension, right? Right along with this beautiful planet, in unison with the planet, right? Okay. The folks who are not able to get to that point will not experience that ascension. Not yet. And it's all right. They're not bad to the people, to the core. Listen, I challenge you to find me an evil baby. Find me a bad baby, right? A baby that just comes out of the womb ready to bust a gun, you know, ready to take a life, ready to do something. That's not, no. It is the paradigm that we are born into. That collage of experiences that we live that shapes and molds us and determines our rate, our path of spiritual maturation, evolution. So, I remind you of that to remind you that those folks that don't and can't ascend, it's all right. Don't look down on them. Eventually they will. Many of them may be your family and friends, right? It's all right. It's all right. It's just where they're at right now. And in time, right? Or in the now, as they continue to mature, they'll get to that point. You'll likely celebrate with them in some form because you'll already be there, right? But the point is that we understand what's happening right now. The paradigm that we knew as our normal, right, was one that was too low vibrational frequency in nature. It was disrespectful to the planet.